You know, when I look at this Dynamite Delight, it makes me think about the weather here. And I botched this 3 times trying to explain that it's been hot in the morning. It's warm right now. I look like I'm sweaty and itchy, which I am. But when you look at Dynamite, it looks warm but not hot. Guys, you look at my title. It was good, but something was missing. And legitimately, you look at this show, it was a good show. But there was something missing. And I know there's going to be a few people, especially that some of the new people that just came in that watch me, which I'm thankful. Thank you for watching. But you're going to probably say, dude, what do you mean something's missing? It seemed fine. No. You're not looking at what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the show in its entirety. I'm looking at its lighting, its camera work. I don't talk about that much. The lighting of AEW or the camera work, because they usually do it correctly. Unlike Impact, who has major problems with the production, they do it fine. But like I've always said, I will tell you when something's wrong. But when you look at this, there's something missing. There's just something missing. Now let's go through this quickly because I'm tired. I want to go to sleep if I can sleep with all this heat. Chris Jericho versus Commander. Now, it made me think about Monday Night Nitro, because Chris used to work with a lot of luchadors and open the show. And Commander reminded me of that. But here's the problem. Chris is not like he was 30 years ago. He can't wrestle the way he did 30 years ago. And we're talking about Commander. Commander is a wrestler that uses a lot of aerial and worse. I can't say worse, because aerial, when it's done correctly, is cool. I'm not going to say that it's perfect. It's cool to watch it sometimes if you put it correctly in the right booking. But a lot of times luchadors don't always have a story to go with their booking. They don't. Usually it's just a lot of high spots. And many people love it. Sometimes I don't mind it. Sometimes I like it. But when you look at Commander, one of the major problems he has, he's a great aerialist, but he has to do a lot of prep. You see him go like that, because he has to prep a lot before he does his moves. He's not like for example, you look at Van Kingo. He doesn't need a lot of prep. Doesn't mean he doesn't take his time to do the moves correctly, but he doesn't need to do the major prep. You look at Penta. And when you look at Rey Fenix, both of them are very seasoned. So they don't need as much prep. They know their moves so well. They know it instinctively. They've done it for so long. When you look at Commander, it is obvious he's still very young in the business. And even if you've been there like 7 or 8 years, he does a lot of prep when it comes to his moves. Look, when you look at Laredo Kid, who almost died because he had a ruptured intestine. He almost died. He's one of those people I always said deserves to get a title. He deserves an Impact Wrestling to actually hold the X Division, and he's never held it, as far as I know. As far as I can remember, he's never held it once. But he's the type that literally, he doesn't need to do any prep for his moves. He's so fluid, but Commander is not. Commander is a great high flyer, but he has a lot of prep work before he does it. He's got to get himself centered and balanced before he does his moves. And even when it came to Excalibur saying he's centering himself, you know how long that takes? 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. And it just looks awkward, particularly with a Chris Jericho who just doesn't move in the ring like he used to. It doesn't mean he can't move, but he's 52 almost if I remember. He's my age. He's 52. He just doesn't have the speed like he has before. And he does tank a little bit. So it looks awkward. Even when Chris did his code breaker, it looked awkward. His Lion Tamer looked fine. And he beat the Commander, which I wasn't surprised. There was no way Commander was going to win against him. He's already jobbed Action and Andretti. He is not going to job again for a while. He's not. We get Don coming out, and he's still trying to convince him to join. And it does show about Bad News Allen. Now, for me personally, it was cool to see Bad News Brown. That's what he was known in WWF. Now, I never saw him in Stampede Wrestling or AWA or maybe WCCW. I don't know what other promotions went to. I know he went to a lot. But I knew him as Bad News Brown. Bad News Allen. And seeing Bad News Brown was great. I liked Bad News Brown. He was one of those wrestlers I liked. It wasn't just because he was black. Yeah, my mother liked him because he was black. I didn't see him that way. I just saw him as a wrestler I hated. That means I liked him. So for me, it was great to see him, and seeing that he told them both to always work together. Now we're going to have that set up. This is good. It's good to see they are doing this with the Don Callis family. And you wonder where they're going to go with Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society, particularly when you saw a Jake Hager. He came to him after all that later in the night and says, dude, what's going on? And he says, I don't know. And he said, look, 10 years ago, I saved you in, where was it? I think Abu Dhabi, he said. 10 years ago, because he almost got killed there. Then 4 years ago, I left MMA and I was undefeated. I left it for you. Now, you don't know what you're going to do. I'm tied to you. As much as I care about you, because he's saying it clearly, I care about you. I'm not going to turn away from you. But until I know what you want, what you're going to do, I can't give you 100. He takes off his hat that he said he loves his hat. Gives it back to Chris. So the question is going to be where they're going to go with Jake. If Chris goes with Don, will he go with him? Out of anyone else, I do expect Jake Hager to go with Chris Jericho, because he is kind of tied to the hip with him. That's the way he works. That's the way I think he should. Now, let's go to match 2, which was the... I know people are not too fond with this. Excuse me. Very tired. It is hot in here. It makes you tired. When you look at this blind eliminator tournament for the tag team division, seeing people being paired up, a lot of people think that's like a Vince McMahon thing. And if it wasn't done in disrespect, that it's a tournament, not just people thrown together, I would 100% agree and I'd say it's garbage. But because it's a tournament and just throwing people together as you're trying to see what will happen, what the people will respond to, I can agree with it. I don't hate it. But I will state this. If this was not a tournament where it's a blind tag, where they did have that little, what was it, like bingo container where you got all the balls in, and they call it out like A74 or Red 14A or something. That, I would say, is a Vince McMahon move. It's garbage. But at least they are making it clear this is a tournament where you're just throwing random people together to see what happens. It is different. You don't see that in WWE. They just pair anyone together and not even say anything, and they start throwing storylines on them. At least here they admit it. We got Garcia and Sammy versus Allen and Orange Cassidy. Now, here's where it gets interesting because of what happened last week with Strickland and Keith Lee. Nagi comes out to mess with Darby Allin. Tried to mess with him, grabbing his skateboard, and then you see Swerve nailing him in the face to make sure that he didn't get any further, because they screwed him up with Keith Lee. Because he may not like Keith Lee, but he won that damn shot. So they just did that, and it's Garcia and it's Sammy who won. But the question is, what does this mean for, will they do something with Allen and Swerve Strickland continuing here? Because I am kind of worried that when you see what's going to happen with well, let's do the match now. Nick Wayne versus Swerve Strickland. Let's get that done right now. If you saw the vid pack, this was about Buddy Wayne. Buddy trained Nick, his son, as well as a Darby Allin. Darby was trained by him. And Nick is a third generation star. I believe he's Moonlight Brody, or something. Brawley. And then his father is Buddy Wayne, and then he's Nick Wayne. And they say the entire life story of him. And I did see a couple of weeks ago what Darby Allin talked about when he was being trained. He saw him like someone that he cared about, and that's Nick. When his dad died, he felt like it was responsibility as one of the last people that his father trained, because he cared about his father so much, and that he trained him, he watched out for his son, which he is. So in a sense, Nick is the protege of, he is the protege of a Darby Allin. He's brought in because of Darby. Let's not get this twisted compared to the match itself, which was twisted. not bad, but twisted. Darby brought in Nick. He did that on purpose. He asked for this, and Tony gave it to him. Because the kid, when you look at the match itself, even if he's gone and done his first tour across the sea to a Japan or to maybe AAA or anywhere else, he's green. It doesn't matter if he's been wrestling 4 or 5 years. He is still green, and he's still physically growing. You could see it in the match. He's still green, even though he's gone up against Swerve before, at least 2 times. He's not there yet. And some parts of that match was botchy on his part. It was obvious, even if they are familiar with each other, he's still young and he's sloppy a little bit. If anyone says, dude, I didn't see that, check it again in a replay. It was there. You could see Nick was sloppy in certain parts. During the middle part, particularly trying to do the not the Hurricanrana from the top turn rope. Well, not a Hurricanrana from the top turn rope. A Poison Rana from the top turn rope. He did a good job with that. It wasn't bad. It was when a couple of things where he was doing a lot of aerial, like when he was going outside the ring and he did a Hurricanrana outside the ring. He almost landed on his freaking neck trying to swing around so hard to get Swerve to be done because he's pretty tall. Sometimes, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, less is more sometimes. Sometimes you don't need to go that far out. If anybody looked at my NXT review, when it came to Jordan, I can't, what is her name? Kalinda? Or I can't remember her name. But she is just like Sorika, which is a lot like Dana Brooke. They're all wrestlers who are originally gymnasts who skew their gymnastics more than their wrestling. They need to bring it back a little bit to make it look more fundamental. Sometimes you put too much athletics into it without seeing real wrestling. It can look awkward or can be dangerous. And when it came to Nick doing that Hurricanrana outside the ring and landing so high on his shoulders, he could have broke his neck while trying to do the Hurricanrana with his mom in ring. Well, ringside. Well, not ringside, but actually watching with everybody else. Of course he didn't win. I didn't see him win the debut. It's fine. But now the question is, will Darby Allin be working with Swerve Strickland and will be also working with Nick? I mean, will Darby be in a tag team with Nick Wayne, or will he just be there for him as a manager? Which I think that would be the wisest thing. That's just me, guys, down below. Okay. The next match. I want to get this over with quickly because there wasn't that much there. My girl Sky Blue versus Ruby Soho. Let's make this very clear. I want more for Ruby. And she's getting it. She's making it to the end of this tournament. Will she win it? I don't know. But the Outcast has been needing something. They needed something. They need a winner of some kind. And it looks like she's being the one that could be chosen to win the entire tournament. I wouldn't mind seeing her win. Because the Outcast has been needing something for a while. Now, yes, we got... What can I say here? When they both got ejected, I'm not going to tell you I knew Sky Blue was going to win. Because I didn't think she was going to win. I felt Ruby was going to win. So once Saraya and Tony left, I wasn't too surprised. She still won. She did. And she did it dominantly. Even though she did seem like she almost cheated more than a few times. But the question is, what will they do with her and the Outcast if she wins? Not just when, if. I'm just saying. Okay, let's get this done. What can I honestly say about the segments and the match between Adam Cole and the MJF versus Bill and Brian Cage? The best match of the night. Flat out, if everybody says, dude, why? Simple. Fundamental Wrestling 101. To get the fans engaged. To get the fans engaged is incredibly important. And when you look at MJF The way he worked the match, yes, he was hamming it up. Yes, he's trying to lift the building going, oh my God, my back. He's hamming it up on purpose. And being in Canada and seeing that they are popular, he's hamming it up, trying to get people to care about his partner, Bebe, to get himself over. It's fine. Something's in my eye. But the point here is this, guys. That is pro wrestling. What you saw from MJF, what you saw from Adam Cole is pro wrestling for two tag teams. One tag team that's over will do what they can to be as heelish as possible. And another one is going to ham it up as the faces if they're playful and joking around until it's time to be serious. And that's what we got. This was the best match. Now, of course, JD may not say it. And just Alex may not say it. Or Solomon, or maybe Wrestling Inc. may not say it. But I'm saying it because I'm seeing it from the point of view of what made the crowd engage. It wasn't that they were a hot crowd. They had to be engaged, guys. Before that match, when we saw the vid pack, you see them understand, you see them at a bar. You see them getting drunk. You see Adam Cole being asked, hey, there are 5 girls. I gave you 2, I'll take 3. And he says, no, I want my woman. I love Brit. And he says, okay, I respect that, but that's more for daddy. And the thing that got me, when it was all over and he comes back and he zips up his zipper and said, oh, daddy's done. That was funny. I like that. You don't see that often in pro wrestling where a guy goes and leans into sexuality. Now, if a woman does it, it'll be fine as well as long as it's done correctly like it was with MJF. He doesn't give a fuck. He's lost his real life fiance due to the fact of some situation, I guess. So he's gonna ham it up more than he should. And I tell you, this was the best thing on the show. Flat out. Now, final part. And this is the part where I'm sure not everyone is going to be happy, but they're going to go, what? Now, when you see this segment with Don Callis, it is done exceptionally well. It is. And I loved it. Now, once you see after that, when Kenny comes out, you see that Moxley came out. And you saw that it wasn't Wheeler Yuta who came out. It was Moxley. It looked like Claudio came out as well. They tried to beat him down. They couldn't stop him. And then my boy, Pac, finally came back. Pac, my boy, is back. And I'm so happy. I miss him so much. He's now the 5th for the Blood and Guts match. But now, when it came to when they're going to hear Kenny say, so who's your partner? Before they were about to break his neck with the chair, he says, look at the Titantron. Or look at the Tron. And they show Kota Ibushi. I believe that's his name. Here's the problem with that. I'm sure he's well known, but I don't know him that well. I kind of wish it was somebody else. To be honest, I kind of wish it was Ryback. And I know that's saying, dude, are you crazy? I'm just saying, they need something extra. Just like I said, they're missing something. And the thing that got me was, I think the person they missed, if they can't get Ryback, who might have been interesting, Skip, I can't remember his last name. I'm not saying that Kota Ibushi is going to be bad. I believe that's his name. The person that should have been there without Kabushi should be Eddie Kingston. Now, he currently is a New Japan Pro Strong Openweight Champion. I believe that's what it's called. And I'm like, dude, he's needed on the damn show. He's so freaking over. He's as over as the Elite is over. But he's not there. Then where's Bryan Danielson? He should be there. He's one of the most over people. He's not there. Then CM Punk should be there. But he can't. He's not there. He's on Collision. He's not going to show up. So when you see the situation, they are missing something. They're missing people. They miss people they really need. They needed either Eddie Kingston on a team so the Blood and Guts match would feel like it's legitimate, because You still got Claudio still having an issue with Eddie Kingston and Moxley. And it makes perfect sense to have him there, but you got Kabushi there. Now, unless Eddie is hurt, which I don't think he is working with New Japan Pro Strong, but doesn't mean he can't just come with the damn title and show off. I'm just saying. I just feel like they're missing something. They're missing people to really make it mean something. And Blood and Guts is next week. I am interested in seeing it. Maybe Eddie Kingston will show up there. But if he doesn't show up, it feels like they're lacking something. They're lacking people. They just are. Look at the women's division. Who are the people we've seen so far? The Outcast. We've seen pretty much Willow Nightingale a couple of times. We're seeing Sky Blue a lot more, which is great. We've seen, well, we haven't seen Statlander on much on Dynamite because she's supposed to be on Rampage as the TBS champion, which I think she should move off there and go to Collision and no longer be on Rampage. She should be on Collision as the TBS champion permanently. I think she might. But where are the other women? Where's Nia Rose? Where is Rio? Where is Hiroko Shida? Where is Abaddon? I think she's still on the roster. I don't even know. I don't know. She might not be. Where are all the women? Where are the women that are supposed to be on Dynamite more than the ones that we currently see? They're supposed to have a full roster of women. I don't see them. It feels like they're missing people. If there was a possibility, I'm saying this now, if there was a possibility to get, when she fully recovers, Mercedes Moné in AEW, where would she go? Would she be on Collision? Or would she be on Dynamite? Whichever doesn't matter because they don't show enough women to make the division feel like something. It's still missing. And even though everyone is loving AEW, they love Collision, I like Collision, it's still lacking. Now, mind you, this is still early days and they need more time. I can understand that. But seriously, they better do something more than this. I'm not going to kiss no one's ass. I'm saying it right now. Production for Collision and Dynamite is top notch. Camera work is generally good. The lighting is very good. The audio usually is alright. No problem. Commentary is alright. But when it comes to the stories and the wrestling, they're not right. There's certain things that are missing. Now, seeing Pac has made me very happy, but still, it's missing. But it's just me. Peace.